The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to bring you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.
This is Jordan Bennington, and you're listening to the Blues Fan Forum podcast.
On the ice, under St. Louis city lights, where the Blues play with all their might. Jordan Cairo, fast on the attack, but defense falters, gotta cut him some slack. In Robert's arms we find our glory, his skills shine, the team's best story. St. Louis Blues, we wear the crest. In Jordan Bennington we put our trust to the test. On the ice we fight and we must, for the city we love, in the blue no we'll thrust.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode 150 of the Blues Fan Forum podcast, your source for Blues news, views, and fan interviews, powered by Scooter's Coffee. Blues fans can score amazing drinks like the signature Carmelicious, served hot, iced, or blended with world-class espresso, fruit smoothies, Scoot energy infusions, and so much more. That is amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooter's Coffee. It is episode 150, another kind of cool milestone. We talked about this last episode about kind of how cool it is that this just came out of nowhere and now we've done 150 episodes. So just kind of a cool feeling for me. I've been here for all 150. Well, maybe 146. Dakota, how many have you done by yourself? 2 or 3? 4?
Two. I think 3. Yeah,
3. Okay, so it's only 147 for me. Damn. All right, but 150, we're here. Dakota, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm in a great mood. Work was fine. Work was great. But the best thing to talk about is Olympic hockey. I'm sure we're going to dive into that a little bit. But what better way to kick off this episode than to talk about the future of the St. Louis Blues? And that leaves us Matt, right? We got to talk about the future.
Hey, it's all about the future. Congratulations on 150. I'm glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, it worked out. I was kind of happy when you said like you could do this date, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. This is episode 150. We got I consider Matt Baker here from the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast a big guest. So cool to have a good guest, a very knowledgeable guest, especially on the Springfield Thunderbirds side. So excited to have you here, Matt.
Well, thanks. Happy to be a part of it.
All right. I do have some things to tell you guys. Last episode, we did tell you guys about our watch party that we were planning for Thursday, March 12th. This is a St. Louis Blues game against the Carolina Hurricanes. We will be located at Fridays South in Collinsville, Illinois. Puck drop is scheduled for 6. We will be there at 5. Just like any other watch party we've hosted, you can expect some fun kind of intermission trivia games. That will be either probably just for prizes. Sometimes I do. You pay $1, and whoever wins the trivia then gets the $1 back. And I usually do it's like head or tail, so you don't even need to know the trivia. It's just maybe you get right because it's 50-50 shot. Also have raffles. We'll have tickets to give away. Well, it'll be a bunch of cool stuff. So we kind of mentioned Blues haven't been playing so hot. Maybe with a hot goaltender coming off a gold medal potentially. And some good Olympics from Dvorsky and Suter, Parayko, and Broberg. This team could turn it back on. So we might be watching a good game. Again, that is Thursday, March 12th at 5 p.m. at Friday South in Collinsville, Illinois. And then I have a new one for you. You're going to have to set alarms for this one because we are hosting another watch party at Time Out Sports Bar and Grill in Troy, Illinois. This one is for 7 a.m., the gold medal match for the Olympics, and what we hope will be USA and Canada. Like, that would be the go-to prime matchup. But no matter what the matchup is, we will be there at 7 a.m. I believe puck drop is scheduled for 7:10 a.m. So the bar is opening up early. It is also friend of the show, Paulina. She is the bartender at Timeout, and it is her last shift there. So we are kind of dueling of Olympic watch party, but also kind of just celebrating friend of the show, Paulina. So plan on, again, that is Sunday, this coming Sunday, 7 a.m. at Timeout Sports Bar and Grill. I'll be yawning and drinking Bloody Marys. So
Eggs and eggs. That's
yeah,
like
right.
me. Eggs and eggs.
Mhm.
So same thing there. Maybe not as many raffle items. That one might just be giveaways. That might just be if people show up, I'm going to give you something just because it's 7 a.m. So your dedication will be rewarded. All right.
Hey, that's a perfect time to pass out some Scooters gift cards.
Oh yeah, we'll have
Get some.
tons.
Oh yeah,
Scooters?
Oh yeah.
I have so many free scooters and 50% off scooters that, yeah, if you show up to either the Collinsville watch party in March or the watch party at Timeout on Sunday, you'll at least walk away with some scooters gift cards. So we'll also have stuff from all our other sponsors, Imprint Labs, and Hughes Custom Design. So it'll be a good time. Watch hockey, drink beer, have a Sunday fun day, or a Thursday.
Mhm.
We planned them on good days. All right. Let's get into some hockey. Before we do have a couple comments. Kelsey has made it on time. I kind of joked, I think, last week about how she's been late to listening a couple times, and she's a future guest. So I said, you got to get on time, Kelsey, but she's here on time. All right. And then we do have fan favorite Sam is joining us. And Sam, your birthday is next Wednesday. Okay. I'll wish you happy birthday next week.
Happy birthday.
All right. We're gonna let's tackle some Blues news. And then we'll get into kind of Matt's little quick hits on the Thunderbirds and kind of see where that takes us. And then we'll kind of spend the end of this podcast spending some time on the Olympics and looking forward to that. So kind of really good timing. St. Louis Blues started practice today in preparation for the NHL season restarting after this Olympic break. Obviously, the 5 Olympians are not there as they are all still in Italy. Couple of news to note, or notes to news to note, maybe words. Dylan Holloway was back at practice. He was a quote full player, so expect him to be 100% ready to go. They did say something about as long as there's no, minor injuries or something. But as far as right now, it seems like he's 100%. Robert Thomas did not practice today. He did do a kind of rehab skate, is what they said, but he is expected to practice tomorrow. So Robert Thomas should be on his way back. And then this one kind of caught me by surprise. Oskar Sundqvist had a procedure on his upper body during the Olympic break, but he is expected to be cleared on Monday. So I didn't even know that he was injured. I don't recall. Dakota, do you recall him being injured?
No, it might be removing that road cone from his back. Yeah, I last I saw it was the ankle injury, but I guess he's back on the. I don't know. It just seems like an Oskar Sundqvist kind of season. Like,
right.
And Thomas skating, perfect time for the trade block. I mean, come on, this is all working into how it's supposed to. We got Matt Baker, we got the future of the NHL on the podcast. We're talking about that stuff. The guys are getting injured. The people are hitting the trade block. This is perfect. It's working out well.
The only other news is that waiver pickup Jack Finley is going to wear number 37. Jack Finley is going to wear number 37, which his dad, Jeff Finley, wore for the St. Louis Blues. No real expectation yet, but what Montgomery said is he kind of looks like a guy that could play on the fourth line and win a lot of face-offs. So I went ahead and slotted him as our fourth line center. That's kind of the expectation. I'm also thinking Sundqvist might get moved. I think when we picked up Jack Finley, I brought up the idea of there's going to be centers that we're getting rid of, and that's why we picked this guy up off of waivers. So that's kind of thought process. Sam also kind of gave us a note here, and Matt, you'll be able to touch on this, but is it Gorgie yet?
Georgie Romanov.
Georgie Romanov
Yeah.
has been called up to the Blues for now as a practice replacement for Jordan Binnington as he has gone on the Olympics. So
yeah, the Thunderbirds just called up Will Cranley from the ECHL. He got a start their first game in Iowa. They had a back-to-back with Iowa Wild, and then Romanov played game 2. It's kind of hard to say. I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about Binnington a little bit, and sort of is a really hot Olympic run for Binnington good for St. Louis? Does that help him on the trade market? Do you guys even think there's any talk about trading him now? And Springfield bummed that we lost Colton Ellis at the beginning of the season, right? So, and I think that kind of threw the team into a little bit of a tailspin early as they were counting on him. Georgie Romanov is a solid goaltender. Of the two, Zarenko and Romanov, I think Romanov is a little bit more even keel. You might not get the same ceiling as Zarenko, but you certainly don't get the same floor as Zarenko. And he's been pretty solid. I know I don't want to jump all over the place. I know we're going to talk about, Otter coming and how the team has looked, because it has made a difference, in my opinion, too, with how the team has played defense and helping out their goaltenders. But I think from everything I've read is that he's just kind of been called up for the practice schedule. And then once Binnington comes back, Georgie will be back down with us.
Well, this kind of begs the question, like what I was going to ask too in this podcast, and I'm glad we're touching on it now because I love goalies, is I hated losing Colton Ellis. I really thought that he could have been the Joel Hofer 1A, 1B tandem that we had in JB. Do I think JB has probably spent his last time in St. Louis? I do. I think it's time to kind of see what you can get for him. Obviously, he's a big name in as far as goaltenders are concerned. He obviously plays really well in high-pressure situations, would be a great pickup for anybody. I know that's kind of a huge contract, but that's a lockdown goaltender that anybody could, build a team around. Probably just not St. Louis. But, Vadim Zarenko, if we were to lose JB, who's going? You're not going to go Will Cranley. I would say, like, if you're going to go anybody, it's going to be Vadim Zarenko.
I mean, you would think, because Zarenko was a draft pick, he's been with Springfield his whole career. You would think, my guess is that's why they're calling up Romanov, to see actually what they have in the guy. I mean, Georgie Romanov has NHL experience. I think he's played maybe a dozen games with the Sharks, I believe. So
does that even count? Like the Sharks?
That's a fair point.
They are good now, but
yeah, that's a fair point. Again, our perspective down here is probably a lot different than your perspective in St. Louis. But when Colton Ellis got picked up on waivers, it really was like blame Binnington, right? Because if you moved off of him, and it was a shame too, because if I'm not mistaken, St. Louis just re-signed Ellis to a 2-way deal, and it was brand new contract, and then he just gets claimed. And you're like, what they should have done was trade Binnington and then ride with Hofer and Ellis from the beginning of the season. I mean, it doesn't help us out in Springfield because we loved Ellis and he was solid as can be, right? And you love his story on how he was with the T-Birds, wasn't good enough, was sent back down, cleaned up his game in the ECHL, worked really hard, did it the right way, came back, and really was an all-star snub last year. He should have made the all-star team. So it was all blame Binnington. And, because I personally, if you trade Binnington now, it probably is the right move, but I don't see Zarenko or Romanov lighting a spark, in there for St. Louis. I'm not saying that they're not awful. I like the guys. I think they're great AHL tandem. You don't miss much when you go with like a lot of AHL teams. You've got your starting goalie, and then you play a lot of 3-and-3s. So you're not using your top goalie every night like you are in the NHL. You need a solid number two. I think in Springfield, we have two very serviceable, very good goaltenders. Not sure if either one of them are lighting it up in the NHL. So
It sucks because it's like I felt like his ceiling for getting traded or being let go or just kind of offloaded was so high coming off of that playoff loss that now he has kind of played 50 something games here this season, has not looked well. Sure, does 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks in the Olympics kind of bring your trade value up? Sure. But I think it was so high in the offseason to where like that's a clutch. You sign Joe Hofer to a maybe 2-3 year deal, but you bring in Colton Ellis, who is obviously would be, if groomed properly, could be a really good NHL goaltender.
yeah,
But you never really gave him a chance. And so I
right.
kind of thought that's like what we were moving in that direction as like in the offseason. It's like, okay, JB, thanks for your Stanley Cup. You might get a statue out front. You're never gonna have to buy a beer in St. Louis, but thank you for your service. We're gonna move towards the future. I kind of thought that that's where they were gonna go. Again, Doug Armstrong, I think, did drop the ball here, but that's a story for another podcast.
I will say, I would imagine that every NHL team goes through and does their due diligence to see if we have this player up and we send them down and they have to go through waivers, what's the likelihood that they get picked up? And I think it would be hard to predict that Buffalo was going to pick up a goalie and then carry 3 goalies the whole year.
Yeah.
Like, they've been a little unlucky in the fact that Alex Lyon has been injured for a little bit, as well as Pekka Uka Luka Muka Chuchu, whatever his name is.
We know who you're talking about.
Both of them have been injured, but they're still carrying 3 goalies on in their roster, and I don't think you expect that, because as soon as they're ready to not hold 3 goalies and they want to send Colton Ellis down, we get first dibs. So like he has to travel through waivers again. So I would imagine you go through and you do your due diligence, and when Colton Ellis gets picked up, Doug Armstrong was probably like, "What the heck?" Like,
yeah, I mean, you always hold your breath with goaltenders going through waivers. As a fan of an AHL team, those are the ones who normally get picked up. I think the Providence Bruins or Boston Bruins lost a goaltender a few days prior to Ellis, so it happens. But I was surprised. I mean, why 3? Unless you really have a lot of confidence in a guy like Ellis. I know Alex Lyons, he was in the AHL for a while and played well too. So it's a commodity, right? Like it's something all teams can use another goaltender, and if you have enough. I mean, personally, carrying 3 seems a little crazy, seems a little much, but
right.
I don't know. We were hoping that was kind of we were holding our breath and hoping that when Pika Puka came back, that because St. Louis gets first dibs, and he can be, the waiver system is weird in the NHL too, right? But because he was already on a 2-way deal with St. Louis, Ellis could have been sent back down without having to clear a waiver again. So we were like fingers crossed for that. But at this point now, that ship has sailed, and we're hoping Will Cranley follows the path of Colton Ellis. And he played really well the other night in Iowa. So we're hopeful.
All right. Well, we dominated some goalies there. Let's kind of look at the forwards, because that is the shining bright spot on what is supposed to be the St. Louis Blues future. We already have some young stars in Jimmy Snuggerud, Dalibor Dvorsky, and I can even throw maybe Otto Stenberg in there that have played a good amount of minutes with the St. Louis Blues this year. Otto Stenberg is down in Springfield right now. How has he looked since coming down? I know they pretty much only sent him down so that way he could still get some playing during this Olympic break. So how has that gone for Otto down in Springfield?
Fine so far. I think he's picked up a few assists. I read, again, I'm not exactly sure how all this works, but had Otto Stenberg played one more game in St. Louis that would have made him ineligible to be sent down.
Yep.
So by sending him back down, he gets to play. He keeps his eligibility. We are probably anticipating him to get called back up. And he's been playing top 6 minutes with Springfield since he's been brought back down. So playing a lot of minutes on the power play and looking good, moving the puck well. Like I said, he's got a handful of assists down here.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if how much his friendship with Dvorsky, because I know they were really good friends or knew each other very well growing up. How much their relationship dictated him going up when he did, and sort of not only, he's always been in your plans, in St. Louis plans to get him up to St. Louis, but how much does that help the development of Dvorsky having a close friend there? Because I'll be honest, Kaskamaki, in my opinion, you should be so excited about him. He's been dominating at times. So not to jump off of Otto Stenberg too quick, but in my opinion, Kaskamaki is a guy who I think at times looks like the best skater on the ice. With Stenberg, no issues with how I don't feel that way, if that makes sense. There was a sequence Kaskamaki had where he's blocking shots. It was a clinic. He put on a defensive clinic, and then he skates down the ice, beats two guys, and scores the game-winning goal. So he's a guy that if you're St. Louis, you should be very excited for getting Alex Kaskamaki up there.
Mm-hmm. When he was up for he didn't play very many games,
Yeah.
but when he was up for a couple games, you could just tell how nervous he was. Like there were times that he got the puck on his stick and he got rid of it immediately and he didn't care where it went.
Yeah. No, I think
yeah.
I think having him play down here and continuing to develop is where he should be. But I just think if he continues to develop, and when we talk about Otter and the new coach here, I think he's in the right spot, and I think when he does get the call up again, it'll be for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to Otto Stenberg,
go ahead.
I'm saying go back to Otto Stenberg and Dvorsky. Yeah. Like I like what you brought up is I do think that the NHL tends to kind of have your lunch if you're really not ready for it. And like you were talking about Kaskamaki, like you can tell when someone's ready and who's not. And obviously Dalibor Dvorsky came in and just kind of took that role by the balls and ran with it and earned his spot on the lineup. And I think Otto Stenberg did kind of take a little bit of what Dvorsky did and was like, well, I want to stay up here too. We didn't necessarily think it was going to be at the same exact time, but I think with the injuries we had at that moment, they kind of seized their opportunity. And I think Stenberg and Dvorsky have earned their spot in our lineup. Obviously, Stenberg's down in the AHL, but like we've talked about, we think he's coming back up. But just to have that opportunity and take it and just kind of grab it, and having a friend in Dvorsky and Stenberg, like being able to have that friendship, they're going to be able to kind of use each other and work well in unison and kind of help each other along in the process, which I think is great for development purposes. Because again, this guy, right? We were talking about, long story short, Ivar Stenberg. If we get Stenberg's brother, how cool that will be if we do in fact get that guy. That relationship over the course of however many years they played hockey together from the time they were tykes. You can't teach that development. It just happens. It's just like that natural born talent you're born with. But having Dvorsky and Stenberg being together on the same team, kind of coming up together through the ranks, that's only going to pay dividends. Maybe not this year, but definitely in years to come.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit on something, Dakota, right? Steve and I talk about this all the time because I think there's been a little bit of resentment or, woe is me with some of the former Thunderbirds players that have been traded away. But it's like, we talk about this all the time. You have to make it impossible for St. Louis not to call you up. You have to make it impossible for a coach not to play you, right? And to Stenberg's credit, you make it impossible. Montgomery likes his young guys, and you make it impossible for him not to keep you there. And you do that through play, through hard work and developing and learning the scheme. And Stenberg has appeared to have done that.
Matt, I was going to ask you, what does the top 6 look like in Springfield? Who's playing in your guys' top 6?
When Connor Walchuk was here, you could roll the dice, and that's who it would be. He was moving guys around all the time. Lately, I mean, Pekka, he's there. You've got Matt Luff is there. Kaskamaki's there. Stuntzel's there. Chris Wagner is there. Dylan Peterson is usually third line. Connor Walchuk really liked, and he talked about this a lot, where he would use the line as placeholders, and he would try just to, whoever had the better week of practice, that's your top line. Whoever was working hard, that was your top line, and kind of go from there. And he would always talk about it as, the numbers are just placeholders. There has been a little bit more consistency with Steve Ott as the coach. You got Matt Luff, Kaskamaki, Wagner, Pekka, McGing. Those are pretty much your guys.
Okay. You mentioned Stancil.
Yep.
He was lighting it up. I believe it was last year in the World Juniors. I think was one of the top point getters there. How has he done for Springfield this year?
He's done well. I mean, he had a hat trick maybe a month or two ago. I think, again, he's young. So does he someone who still needs to develop? Absolutely. He's still kind of learning to play that two-way hockey a little bit. But he's not at all feeling like a liability. He works hard. I personally, and I kind of feel this way about the team. I talked about this maybe the last 2 weeks on our podcast, where I feel like this team is missing I don't want to play goon hockey, but just a guy who is going to, hand wash a little bit in front of the crease, or, I'm just going to let the goalie know I'm here and give him a little snow. We don't really have that edge other than a guy like Chris Wagner. You've got Dylan Peterson, who will drop the gloves. You've got, obviously, a guy like Cale Kessie. I don't even know if you guys have ever heard of him. He's an AHL mainstay, but he'll drop the gloves. You've got Buchinger, who's dropped a few. Hunter Skinner will drop the gloves. So you have guys that will fight, but there just isn't that like poke ya antagonistic type player. I would like to see that be a Jakob Stuntzel. I think he's got the size for it. He's young. I would love to see him kind of do. I mean, that's not really his game, but there isn't much to complain about. He's still developing, but playing well.
All right. Another guy I have written down here. This guy I think was supposed to be the steal of the draft for St. Louis a couple years ago, and that's that Juraj
Pekarczyk.
Yeah.
Juraj Pekarczyk. He started the season hot, right? Similar to what Dylan Peterson did last year. Juraj Pekarczyk and Nikita Sasuyev were kind of the two big rookies this year that we were all excited to see. Juraj Pekarczyk has been a mainstay in the lineup. He's been playing every night. Nikita Sasuyev has kind of faded away a little bit, down to the ECHL a little bit, back up and kind of back and forth there. But Pekarczyk has played well. At times, you can kind of forget he's out there, kind of gets lost. Again, another young guy. And I think, too, it's hard at times to sort of – I don't think anyone was really developing, if I'm going to be honest, with Connor Walchuk, and I think that kind of led to the coaching change. But, like I said, he seems like a good player. He brings energy. He can skate fast in the zone. Like I said, at times you just some struggles a little bit, maybe getting through the neutral zone. But again, everyone did. It wasn't just Pekarczyk. Like I said, there were a lot of red flags at the beginning of the year to start the year that have seemed to be cleaned up a little bit with the coaching change. But again, another guy I would say St. Louis stay excited about. you never know where guys, how fast they develop or, how long it takes. But definitely a guy who you can see glimpses of, not really have seen a full game yet of Pekarchi kind of taken over, or even a whole period where you're just like, you notice him all over the place. But definitely see glimpses from Pekarchi.
All right. And then the last guy, I just took a note down here, and these are all forwards, but our first round pick defenseman, Theo Lindstein.
Oof.
I see a negative 25 as
Yeah.
plus minus, and that's not a great sign.
Oh shit!
Holy
shit!
He has struggled, but again, another guy who, since Otter has come down, you're like, oh, he knows how to play hockey, because I didn't know he did, right? Like he would struggle. I mean, clearly the negative 27.5, whatever it is, he was struggling. He was just lost, had no net presence, just lost. He was getting beat all the time. Since Ott has come down, he's gotten himself a few goals. He got the game winner, I think, in maybe Steve Ott's first or second game as head coach. He got the game winner in overtime.
First one. I think I remember that.
Yeah. And that was actually an assist from Kaskamaki, I think. So he's gotten himself a few goals since Ott has come down. Has been playing better. Again, D pairs too. They move. He's with Callie Rosen at times. He's been with Quentin Burns. He's been with Loof. He's been with Marc-Andre Gaudet, who he might not be a guy on your radar, but Marc-Andre Gaudet is a guy who he was up and down last year, ECHL, AHL a little bit. He started the year in the ECHL. He's probably been the Thunderbirds' best defenseman. A little banged up now, but Marc-Andre Gaudet has been he was a bright spot where there weren't many at the beginning of the year for the Thunderbirds. So Marc-Andre Gaudet is another guy who is kind of surprised and he can play. But yeah, Theo Lindstein, I mean, you can see there's talent there. He was lost. He was figure skating out there at times. Just twist and turn. But like I said, the whole team has sort of stabilized to an extent with Steve Ott. It's not, and this is my thing too. It's not all about the wins and losses. When you go through a coaching change mid-season, and it seems like there were some culture issues and maybe some leadership issues. When you're stabilizing that, it's not just about the wins and losses. It's about the quality of play on the ice and sort of reading between the lines. And things have definitely stabled since Ott came down.
Do you have?
I got a question for you. So,
yeah,
go ahead. We got to work on this, Jagger. But St. Louis fans, St. Louis fans are riding high. I know we got kicked out in the first round, but as far as AHL fans, how were the Thunderbirds? Coming out of last year, coming into this season, were you guys hopeful? Were you guys like, okay, like we kind of have things figured out? Were you surprised at all by a decline almost immediately?
Oh, it's been tough. I was preseason, before Ellis got picked up off of waivers, I honestly had this team pegged as a top 2 team in the Atlantic Division. After he got claimed by waivers, I stayed optimistic. I had my doubts, right? But I was continued to be optimistic. They didn't lose. It's not like they lost anybody. You started the season with Dvorsky down here, so you didn't lose anyone off of their playoff team from the year prior. And you're thinking kind of Walchuk in year 2, his system, the things that we talked about last year, they were giving up 40 shots a game last year, right? And Ellis was saving 38 of them a game. So you're like, oh, well, now year 2 of Connor Walchuk, you clean that up a little bit. You play a little bit more sound hockey, getting through the neutral zone. You don't turn things over in your D zone all the time. And there you go. This is a top 4 team in your division, and who knows what can happen in the playoffs. So the season got off to a dreadful start. And, it's tough. You made no sense because this lineup, even now, you look at this lineup, and for an AHL lineup, it's stacked. Lines 1 through 4. They really can be in the AHL. The Thunderbirds, you really can say they're all placeholders because your 4-team, your fourth line, minus the Cale Kessie, the nights he's in, and no disrespect to that dude because I don't want the smoke from him. But minus Cale Kessie, I mean, you're talking Zach Dean and Hugh McGing at times on your fourth line with Cale Kessie. So the lineup is stacked, and you're looking like, why can't it? Just doesn't make sense. Why is this team still under Connor Walchuk giving up 40 shots a game, being outshot 3-1 at times, and maybe you win it because Vadim Zarenko is playing on his head, but it doesn't make sense, and it just looks like bad, uninspired hockey. So for me personally, it was a tough start to the year, and it's also tough too. You don't want to bash the team too bad in the podcast week after week. So, you try to brighten things up a little bit, but, off air, Steve and I are sitting there like, what are they doing? And I guess if we can segue, we can come back to players if you want, but if we can segue to the coaching change and everything, the timing of it felt very weird to us here in St. Louis on a Monday, in January. Why not in October when the team had only won 2 games? What took so long? And then I'm always up for a good conspiracy. So now I'm digging into, all right, they named Ott the new coach, and I'm looking at, he was the special teams coach.
Yes.
Special teams was struggling a bit. Is this killing 2 birds with, again, the timing of it just seemed odd to me. I knew the Blues are high on Steve Ott as a coach, but like, hey, your power plays, your special teams aren't really lighting it up. And so is this sort of like, well, let's make this move now? I kind of am feeling like the Blues don't want to you got bit when you lost Ellis. You don't want to get bit twice. And if you think you have a good head coach in Steve Ott, do you send him down to keep him in-house, so to speak? And then when you're done with Montgomery in a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, hey, you got Steve Ott to come back up. I don't know. But it has been in my all positive since he came back. You see the team playing a little bit more inspired. They're forechecking, they're back checking. Again, things that we did not see under Connor Walchuk. I think, again, I don't have their record right in front of me. I think their last 10, actually, I take that back. They're 5-5 in their last 10. So they're still playing 500 hockey. But you're actually seeing games that resemble a real hockey game where shot totals, if you can keep the shot per period around 10, that's kind of like my 10 to 12. Anything more than that, way too much. They're keeping their shot totals down. They're out shooting their opponent. And so it looks like actual hockey now with Otter as the coach. So here in Springfield, I'm very pleased. I'm happy with the coaching change.
My conspiracy theory to kind of build off of yours is that they sent Ott down to get head coaching experience, because I don't know when, but he will be the next St. Louis Blues head coach.
Yeah.
And Montgomery did sign a 5-year contract that started this year. But I don't know. I've been slowly bringing up the idea of, hey, at some point, even though we all love Montgomery, at some point it's the coach's fault. Like you can't fire the team,
right?
So at some point you're gonna have to fire the coach. I wonder if that's why that didn't happen in October, and it took them so long. Of hey, Springfield's not getting any better. St. Louis isn't getting any better. Maybe we look at Plan B.
I'm kind of in agreement with you. Like after seeing how this is playing out, though, I kind of agree with you, and I think it keeps. Montgomery, he knows who he is, but it puts him on the hot seat a little bit because now, hey, you're right, Jacob, right? At some point, the coach's job is to get the best out of the players. And if you're not getting the best out of your players, it's the coach's fault,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dakota.
I'm kind of dumb when it comes to like negotiations and contracts and whatnot. So maybe this is a dumb question, but I thought I'd ask.
I hope it
Since
is.
Otter was with the big club, I hope it is too. I think I'm just uneducated all the way around. But since Otter was with the big club, got sent down, does that mean he's like a coach free agent once the season's kind of like ran its course? Like, does his NHL contract now move to now an AHL contract? Like, how does that all work?
That's an interesting question, and I don't know. I know his label is interim head coach. So my guess is, and this is my guess, he technically is coaching the Thunderbirds under his Blues contract. So after this year, the Blues would have the ability, along with the Thunderbirds, to hire him as the full-time coach. If he is not hired as the full-time head coach, he would then be back to his St. Louis role, because this is just an interim tag. And I think that's what the interim is like a placeholder for this reason, where you're not our coach yet, but you could be. So it's the Blues way of saying, let's see how you do. And if it works out, then we will name you the Thunderbirds head coach. If it doesn't work out, you can come back with us and hope Dvorsky can help your power play.
Secondary question though, then to you, then Matt, is okay. He's interim now. Depending on how you finish the year off, would it be in Springfield's best, hand to offer him a spot?
I think so. Again, this is what I said from day one when he was hired as the interim head coach. And this is what I was telling our fans. Don't judge him on strictly wins and losses. Because again, for the things I mentioned, if you're changing culture, if you are, new leadership tactics and things like that, if you're looking to change all that, there might be some bumps along the road. Look at the quality of play. Again, I mean, I'm not doing it justice. Some of these games I couldn't watch. Steve and I, we'd be turning the game off halfway through the first period. I call them the Wonderbirds. You either get the Thunderbirds or the Wonderbirds. And since Ott has come down, we've seen Thunderbird hockey. We've seen hockey. We've seen forecheck, a back check. They're competent getting through the neutral zone, which they weren't under Connor Walchuk. And I'm not trying to bash the guy. But so I would be in favor of, if the team wins and losses aside, I'm not worried about that. If the team continues to play good hockey and call it around 500, they need to sign Ott to a long-term deal. And I don't know what that looks like in the AHL, but sign him to a deal, because this is also, and granted, when Drew Bannister was called up, right? The Thunderbirds are on their fourth coach now in 3 years, and that's not good. At any professional level in any sport, that's not good. So I think they need some continuity as well. And if it's Ott, great. And again, in the 2.5, 3 weeks that Ott has been the coach and we've seen hockey here in Springfield, it's been a better product on the ice. So I'm all in favor of keeping him on board, signing him. And I also think that helps the relationship between Springfield and St. Louis as well. A guy who was in St. Louis, who was in the meetings with Montgomery, who knows what Montgomery is looking for, who knows what players they have circled to be developed. And he's going to develop those guys in the exact ways that Montgomery wants them to be developed. So I think it's a win-win for both clubs.
Sorry, I'm hosting my podcast and playing fetch with my dog at the same time.
That's a good night. That's a good night.
All right. I'm going to tell you, our fans here, about some cool places that they can spend some money. And then I've kind of neglected our comment section. So I'm going to kind of backtrack and pull some of those up. So we mentioned scooters. We're gonna need some scooters coffee. Maybe I can get him to like donate something Sunday morning. Actually, I can probably definitely get them to get like a black coffee, something there. We're gonna get some scooters to the gold medal match. Specifically, if you can go to the drive-throughs on Highway 143 and Troxler Way in Highland, or Vandalia Street and Indiana Avenue in Collinsville. But if you cannot check out those, you can look at the other 30 locations in the greater St. Louis area. That is amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooters Coffee. Also, make sure you guys check out Hughes Custom Design. They are a family-owned and run small business that is operated out of Maryville, Illinois. They specialize in laser cut, hand-painted signs, and they have options that are typically ready upon request, or they complete almost any request for a custom job. So check out Hughes Custom Design on Facebook. And then Imprint Labs. They specialize in bringing your brand to life with custom laser engraved Richardson hats and vibrant custom sublimated metal prints. Whether you want to make a statement with high quality headwear or showcase your designs on eye-catching metal art, we deliver precision, durability, and style every time. Elevate your brand with Imprint Labs, where your vision meets our craftsmanship. So check out Hughes Custom Design, Imprint Labs, and get yourself some coffee because we're gonna need it to come this Sunday. It's gonna be rough on Sunday. All right. And also, I'll mention it again, our watch parties Sunday at Timeout Sports Bar and Grill in Troy, Illinois at 7 a.m. And then March 12th at 5 p.m. when the Blues take on the Carolina Hurricanes, we will be at Fridays South in Collinsville. So come hang out, catch us there. We'll have a good time. All right. I only had a couple more players for Springfield that I wanted to talk to you about, Matt. And this one will probably be quick because they haven't been on the team very long. So one is Akil Thomas, who we picked up in the 1-for-1 trade with Nikita Alexandrov.
Yep.
Thoughts on I feel like we've had him longer, but he's only played 4 games. So is he injured?
Has he played 4? Because it feels like less.
Okay. 4 is what I followed on the AHL website.
It's possible. Yes. He was the piece that the Thunderbirds got when they traded away Alexandrov. He got injured in his first or second practice with the team and was out for 8 weeks. He came back, played back-to-back nights. The first 2 games of a 3-3, he was out that third game of the 3-3, and the reports that I had were no injury, just looking to, guy hasn't played in 2 months. We're not going to play him 3 straight nights. And I haven't seen him since. And he is right now on the Thunderbirds website as week to week again. I will say the Thunderbirds had a kids club event yesterday. We're recording on a Tuesday night, right? So, and my kids are part of the kids club, and Akil Thomas was the player, the meet and greet player there. And I don't know if I'm violating any HIPAA laws here, but he wasn't in a walking boot or anything, so it doesn't look like any broken bones. He wasn't in a sling, but if you're week to week, that leads me to believe soft tissue injury, which isn't good. Mm-hmm. So, I don't have much to talk about. He hasn't played, didn't look bad. I'm excited to see him. I thought it was a great trade. I think Nikita Alexandrov, one of those players I was kind of talking about earlier, where they maybe had a little bit of resentment, wanted to be up in St. Louis. St. Louis didn't have room for him. And he was playing 70% at best here in Springfield. Really a detriment to the team, which led to, I think, some of our poor start. So excited to see Akil Thomas. I'm still excited to see Akil Thomas. I'll send you a message when he plays again.
When you do.
Yeah.
All right. And then a newer guy on the team that has also played 4 games, and that would be Thomas Bordelot.
Bordelot, yeah.
Aha. Yeah, and that's who we picked up in the Nick Bukestad trade.
Yeah, I don't know much about him either, other than the fact when the Thunderbirds did get him, right, and it was a St. Louis trade, I think he was on Utica or something like that. The team he previously, I
Yeah.
guess he had gotten into a fight against Hugh McGing before. And so, they posted, hey, thanks for your service, Bordelot, and enjoy playing with the guys you used to fight with. So, look, he looked in Iowa and the Iowa Wild, the Thunderbird, everybody looked really good against Iowa. Everyone does look good against Iowa. They're the worst team in the AHL 2 years in a row now. So, the Thunderbirds looked really good. Bordelot looked really good. He got a few points in those 2 games. So excited. I mean, he's a guy I'm excited to see if he can bring some energy, seeing if maybe he can be, again, that antagonistic sort of poke the bear type player for the Thunderbirds, because I think that's sort of one of the elements that they're missing.
I did get a chance to watch his goal that he scored the other night.
Yeah.
Which was pretty nice. Back check, steals the puck.
Yep.
Creates a 2-on-1 and then complete no look shot. Like he is staring at the pass the whole time and puts it up into the corner. So it was pretty nice. I don't know if he's a goal scorer type player like that, but that looked like some pretty solid skill there.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're bringing a guy, I think I'm looking with the Comets. He was a -13. What do you have? 0.23 points per game, 35 games played, 2 goals. So he's not really a goal scorer necessarily. But a guy. It sounds weird to say this, but the beginning of the year, for the first few months of the season, if you saw a back check, you were like, whoa, what was so just seeing as a fan, I'm watching the game and you're right, seeing Bordelot back check and you're like, good effort. Like, just give me effort. And he creates and creates his own goal. You're like, this is a sight for sore eyes. So excited to see what Bordelot can do in the lineup. I think he was a 2nd-round draft pick by the Sharks back in, I have him pulled up now, back in 2020. So he's a kid who's got plenty of talent. And if the Blues now have a feeling that their players are or can develop a little bit more than they did under Connor Walchuk, and that's actually a question I have for you. Like, did you guys hear the grumblings of that too, where you've got these young guys here in Springfield that are so much a part of what you want to do in St. Louis, but they're just not developing? Did you hear that too?
I didn't hear it. I think we might have heard it more if the Blues were playing well.
Sure.
But we were so focused on how bad we are that when we looked at Springfield and we saw that Springfield was worse, we were like, oh, we're just going to kind of we're just going to act like they don't exist.
Yeah. But I mean, I get, and there's got to be some sort of rhyme and reason to it all, that, the big club is struggling and the club down here is struggling. And, I don't, just like I said it before, the lineup that the Thunderbirds are putting on the ice on paper, you're like, there's no way this team should be getting blown out 8-2 on back-to-back nights, but they were. And again, luckily, knock on wood, not since the coaching change, but you couldn't make sense of it because this lineup was just stacked and they just were not playing a game that looked anything like quality hockey.
Well, and it's crazy because we're so far apart as far as geography, St. Louis and Springfield, right? But everything you're saying about it being crazy that Springfield is this bad because the effort level is just not there, and on paper the team looks really good, is exactly what St. Louis Blues fans are saying. Like, you look at the team on paper and you're like, this team was projected to either finish 3rd or almost guaranteed a wild card spot, not be 2nd to worst in the NHL. Like, that was not part of the recipe based on the ingredients you have of what this team looks like on paper. And a lot of people, if you talk to them now, they'll go recency and they'll say, well, we've dealt with a lot of injuries. But for the first 10 to 15 games, we didn't deal with a whole lot of injuries. We were pretty healthy. We had everyone we needed, and we were still losing games poorly. At that point, actually, Joel Hofer was the worst goalie the NHL has ever seen.
Yeah. I remember because watching because the ESPN had a few Blues games on, and I was watching one. I want to say it was against the Devils, where Hofer, who usually is good playing the puck, he just gave it up to a guy in the D zone, and then it was just, and you're like, man, Hofer, what are you doing? But since then, he's played well. Hasn't he statistically outplayed Binnington?
We've talked about
Steady
on here
Eddie.
about making him kind of our 1A and
Yeah.
Binnington our 1B. So yeah, he's
Yeah,
played a lot better.
And he's ready. I mean, again, from afar, I feel like he's ready, and then that makes the Colton Ellis move sting. That stings even more because again, you could roll with a Hofer as your one. If you had to pull Zarenko up. The thing with Zarenko, and he's a really nice guy. There was talk this offseason with him potentially, is he going back to Russia? Who knows? So, I don't know if there's that element to it as well. We're like, all right, how in is this guy with staying here? I know he's got a young kid at home, but he is such a roller coaster. Again, you get a ceiling from Zarenko, and you're like, this dude's unbelievable. His lights out. His puck control is fantastic. His rebound, he eats up the puck. His lateral movement post to post when he's on is lights out. And then there are other nights where you just see, someone trying to flip it in from the blue line, and it just sneaks right under his arm, right under his elbow, and you're like, oh, come on. So, and at times, Zarenko goes on these streaks where it's like a week and a half, and he's bad, getting pulled 2 out of his 4 starts or something like that. So that's the element of Zarenko where I've always felt if you just got a little bit more even keel, you don't even have to get his ceiling as much. You just keep him a little bit more. I know what to expect from this guy. He's a solid number 2 in the NHL, but because he's so up and down, that gives me a little bit of concern.
All right. Let's jump into the Olympics here.
Yeah.
So where we're at right now, tomorrow is I think tomorrow is potentially one of the best days in hockey ever. You have 4 hockey games, all of which I think are going to be fairly good games. The first game at 5:10 in the morning for Central Time, 6:10 Eastern, is going to be Slovakia versus Germany. Slovakia, the kind of surprise team that won their group in a group with Finland and Sweden. They were not supposed to be the team that was going to win that group. Comes out, gets the little kind of first round bye. Now have to take on Leon Draisaitl and Germany. That's at 5:10. Then at 9:40, Canada takes on Czechia, who was able to beat. Who'd they beat today? Denmark?
Yes.
Czechia played
I think.
Denmark. Okay.
No.
Yeah. Czechia play whoever it was. It actually was kind of a close game. And then Finland plays the Swiss at 11:10, and then to round out the day, probably the best game, United States Sweden at 2:10. Matt, you're a teacher, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. How did you plan your day for tomorrow? Because I gave all of my kids long-term projects that at least will take tomorrow, so that way I can just turn hockey on all day. They're going to be working.
We are actually on February vacation right now, so I have the week off. That is a thing here in Massachusetts, and it's not even everyone in Massachusetts. In my district, I teach in the same district that my kids go to school in, so we are all off this week. So, I'll be watching it on my couch.
Dang.
No,
I thought I was cool, but
yeah.
All right. Tomorrow, excellent day. I didn't even pay attention to when the next games would be. I would imagine Friday. Semifinal.
Friday is the quarters.
Bronze is Saturday. Yep. Gold is Sunday. Right?
Gold, yes.
Okay. All right. And then if you're itching for some hockey on Thursday at 12:10, see the Olympics likes women apparently. The women USA Canada gold medal match is at 12:10. Unfortunately, the rest of the world is just significantly behind Canada and the United
Yeah.
States in women's hockey. Like they just don't
Mm-hmm.
stand a chance. USA, I don't think, has given up a goal in like 200 something minutes of the Olympics.
You would think you'd do that by accident, you know?
Yeah.
Whoops.
So it's going to be a really interesting game because Canada has dominated the series, at least Olympic wise, but in the last matchup, USA beat Canada 5-0. So Canada's going to come out hot. We'll see if USA can keep their just domination running. I watched part of the USA versus Sweden women's semifinal game thinking it's a semifinal game. It'll be close. By the time I turned it on, it was like 16 shots to 2. It's like,
and would they have like 3 or 4 goals in the second period alone? I think
they scored like 3 goals in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like real, like quick. So yeah, Kelsey did bring up that in that first USA Canada match that I'm going to mispronounce this, but Paulin, which I know is Canada's best player. She was injured, but I do know she also played in the most recent game that Canada played. So having their best player back will help them. I would not on Thursday expect the United States to win 5-0 again. I'm expecting this to be a close game. So you got a full slate of awesome men's games tomorrow, and then a pretty intense and going to be a good women's gold medal match on Thursday. So it should be fun.
I got a random question for you guys. How much do you think, and maybe not to us, we watch, the three of us, we watch enough hockey. How much do you think the Four Nations tournament the NHL put on last year has helped viewership or just excitement around the Olympics this year for both the men and the women's hockey? And is it something that you think the NHL should do more often?
Take it, Dakota. Unless you want.
I think it was huge.
Yeah.
Look at what the Four Nations did. I think we talked about this a couple times last year. It's like I wish it was just not the Four Nations.
Right.
Obviously, we talk about Russia and that debacle in the Olympics. You're definitely missing that talent here. But I think hockey now more than ever has been a sport that's easily eye-catching for the younger folks. Mm-hmm. And Olympics only happens, winter at least happens every 4 years. And so, if you want to captivate a fan base, you got to go after the young kids. It's obtainable, it's accessible, and it's fun to watch hockey, right? People are hitting each other. People are going flying. As much as I love the good figure skating and curling, something about hockey just, gets people going.
There's cuss words in
but
curling.
I think the Four Nations. I haven't cussed once on this podcast. And I'm
saying in curling. Did you see that?
Team Canada? Yeah, Canada, the guy pushing the rock. I did see that. Yeah.
Some guy in Canada cheated, got caught by the other team, and was like MFing him.
Yeah. I didn't cheat, MFer. I never did do it once. F you guys.
Wow.
And then you see all the replays of him, pushing the stone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like throws his little stone, and then his little finger just goes boop and continues to allow it to spin a little bit more.
Wow.
Damn Canadians.
I know. They're supposed to be nice, but I think it's just a cover.
Yeah, that's only on South Park.
But
no,
I would. I think the Four Nations. What?
Oh, are you done?
No, you guys cut out. I stop talking when I hear dead silent. So
okay. No, do you think?
What I was saying was
Go.
Four Nations, I feel like, and again, I told Jacob 20 minutes ago my internet cut out, so I apologize for the technical difficulties. It's usually always me, but Four Nations, I feel like was just like the teaser to the Olympics, and this Olympics has not disappointed. That's all I'll say. And I'll stop talking.
Yeah. I like the fact that the Four Nations happened when it did. Just being after a long pause of not having a national best on best tournament in a long time. I think that kind of pumped it all up. And it really did. I mean, it could have been. You see all these other all-star games, whether it's the NFL all-star game or the NBA, even the MLB, like they're all jokes. Like none of them are anything. And the NHL players could have looked at the Four Nations and taken that and done the same thing. Of this really doesn't matter. Nothing of this is going to help me win in the NHL or do anything. Just let's not go get hurt. And they did the complete opposite of that. They did exactly what I expect hockey players to do: is go out there and say, I don't give a shit. I want to win this game. And just the beginning of that United States-Canada game, those three fights between Matthew Tkachuk and I think Sam Bennett, or not Sam Bennett because they're on the same team. So Matthew Tkachuk and who did he fight? Braden Point? No, he wouldn't have fought Braden Point.
There were three fights within the first 40 seconds.
No, Brady Tkachuk fought Sam Bennett. Matthew Tkachuk and Sam Bennett didn't fight. They're on the same NHL team, so they wouldn't have fought. And then Colton Parayko throwing down with JT Miller. Just that alone probably drove so many more people to the NHL of just seeing like this is an all-star game that these dudes are just throwing fists in.
Yeah.
I do wish if I could critique the Olympics a little bit, I would narrow the field. If that was a possibility. I think it needs to be more than what the Four Nations had. Like we need some other teams in there. Let's see. Slovakia has shown that they're good. Czechia's got good people. I would love to see a Russian team. I know Russia, the country, and their politics isn't as great, but their hockey team would be so damn good. Yeah. So I'd love to see that, but I really don't need to watch Latvia play hockey. Like I don't need that. So yeah, I think the Four Nations, the Olympics, I think you're going to see the NHL kind of do a hybrid sort of thing where they still do throw in their Four Nations every couple years, throw in their all-star game on the years that they're not going to do a big Four Nations. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it was a success. All right. The only thing I have to cover that I wanted to go over is our 5 Olympians. So Jordan Binnington is commanding Canada's net after shutting out, getting a shutout in his first game. He has played one more game where he did give up 2 goals, but his save percentage is still sitting at a .950. He is expected to be in goal for Canada tomorrow against Czechia. Parayko has, I think, played in a more of a role than I expected. I thought he was kind of going to be that extra defenseman, but he has been paired up with Josh Morrissey. He's played 3 games. He doesn't have any points, which I think is also expected, but he is getting about 16 and a half minutes a game. So he's doing okay. Wally's excited about it. Dvorsky probably had the best game or the best Olympics that he could have. 3 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists, 1 power play goal that was pretty big, and then another goal at the end that really gave Slovakia the win of their group. Hey, quit it. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Pia Suter has played 4 games. He just has 2 goals. Not a whole lot to talk about there, but he's been like the net front presence guy, which I don't think I've seen from him with St. Louis. He's been just kind of tapping pucks in around the net. So maybe something to see when he comes back. And then Philip Broberg, 4 games played with Sweden. He does have 1 assist. He's getting about 16 minutes a night. It'll be interesting to see how they use him against the United States tomorrow. Matt or Dakota, anything you've been super excited about or just noticed with any of our St. Louis Blues players in the Olympics?
Well, for me, I love seeing the success of Dvorsky. He's a guy that when he was down here in Springfield, I had the chance to meet him. My kids got to meet him. Wicked nice guy, very down to earth. And I see this. I'm always excited about like the mental aspect of sport and how Dvorsky's still, what was he, 20? Is he even 21 yet?
So.
Right, he's 20. And the fact that you now have your country on your shoulders and you are now no longer just a star in Springfield or St. Louis, you're kind of on that national stage, world stage, right? I think now the sky can be the limit. If he can bring that confidence, I'm hoping he does bring that back to St. Louis. He's like, dude, I just captained my country. I could do it for St. Louis kind of attitude, right? So I love seeing that from Dvorsky. And for Binnington, we talked about this earlier, like just trade the dude, ride the hot Olympics and trade the guy and get some talent. And send it down to Springfield or something,
All right. I did have a couple questions up here that I wanted to get to, but we've been talking. And so Sam asked this one, and Matt, this one's going to be for you because it doesn't really affect St. Louis, but Sam Bitten and Corey Schooneman getting traded to Hershey. What's your thought process? Did you guys get anything in return for that, or was that just a future considerations?
Callie Rosen replaced Schooneman, and Sam Bitten was a future considerations, which I hate. Honestly, Sam, like I don't know. Callie Rosen has been playing great for us, so I don't think we miss Corey Schooneman. As far as Sam Bitten goes, I think it all depends on if the Thunderbirds can consistently play good hockey. Hershey is kind of down this year a little bit, so time will tell. I would expect to see a nice little tilt at center ice between Bitten and maybe Kessie or something like that, just because I think it would be poetic and the fans would love that. And Sam Bitten was a fan favorite, so that was a tough pill to swallow when they traded him away. But he's doing all right up in Hershey, so we'll see.
All right. And then do you happen to know if there was that name's so hard to pronounce. Did his dad play for Washington?
I thought Steve Konowalchuk played for Washington. I don't know if his dad did. I can look that up quickly.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know who his dad is, but I know Steve Konowalchuk. Yeah, Mr. Konowalchuk. Steve Konowalchuk.
That's a name. Holy shit.
Yeah. And actually, Roger said early 90s, early 2000s. So that probably was Steve then playing, not his
Steve
dad.
played, yes. Steve Konowalchuk played for the Capitals. He was like your third, fourth line, gritty kind of guy. And again, I don't mean to bash the guy or anything like that. His coaching career, he was in the playoffs every year. He was a head coach at different levels. And I was super excited to have him in Springfield. And again, another reason why I was so high on this year was because you're like, yeah, Konowalchuk will get this team into the playoffs again. And year two of his system, and the guys know him, and let's roll with it. You got Matthew Pekka as he's your captain again, and solid leadership, and you're bringing in the young guys. But for whatever reason, I don't know if it was just his old school mentality. I think he coached like he played, and it was kind of do it my way. And I don't know. I think he just the team kind of tuned him out a little bit, and hence why you're looking like a uninspired team playing hockey and losing 8-2. Just wasn't good.
All right. And then Dakota, I'm going to let you tackle this one from Roger. Do you think Brady Tkachuk could ever end up in St. Louis?
No. Here's my thing. I'm going to answer this like a fan. No. Now, as somebody who thinks that it would be one hell of a poetic ending to probably one hell of a career for Brady Tkachuk, sure. I mean, what better way to go out than have a number 7 be another Tkachuk and like just kind of like cement that number 7 legacy for St. Louis, because like a lot of really good players have worn that number. But it would take a huge collapse on behalf of Ottawa to bring Brady somebody of that caliber to the Blues, because we just don't have a lot of change to pass around. So I would say no. We can dream, but I think the closest brother combo we can get would be the Stenbergs. So let's jump on that. We'll jump on that bandwagon. We'll produce one hell of a brother tandem, and maybe one day we'll lift both those banners up in the rafters.
We're gonna. What position is his brother a winger as well?
Yeah.
You could put both Stenbergs,
and Dvorsky in the middle.
Dvorsky.
That's a home run. That would be a home run. How's Dvorsky been on the power play? Has he picked it up a little bit? I heard he was kind of struggling on that.
Earlier this year, he was leading the team in power play points, or in power play goals. I think he had 5. It took him a while before he even scored a 5-on-5 goal. All of his goals came from that. He has been playing on a line. I want to say he is the center. Shen plays on the wing, and then I think Snuggerud plays on the other wing. And Shen, I guess, has kind of gone with listen, I'm the veteran here. Where do you want to play? Because I can play wherever. And Dvorsky was like, I'm more comfortable in the middle. So Shen's like, all right, I'll go to the wing. And that's been a pretty good line for us. It'll be interesting to see if they keep that line together with Holloway coming back, because last year the Holloway, Shen, and Kyrou line was so dominant. I almost feel like you got to try to bring that back. And get that going again, especially if there's movement to trade Shen or movement to trade Kyrou. You want them performing at the best they can if you're going to try to get something out of them.
Yeah. Real quick, I don't know how long you guys like going. In 10 words or less, revisit the Zach Bolduc, Logan Mailloux trade.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, that's 3 words.
That's enough.
Hold on, 10. No, I could go a little bit more in depth, but like we'll start with oh my God, and then it'll finish with worst decision. There, done.
I didn't get it.
There's my words.
Logan Mailloux, I always saw him like he's a good AHL defenseman, but and off ice stuff aside, right? Like just talking about him.
No.
But just what are you guys doing? Like this Zach Bolduc, you could have had him forever. He's a top 6 guy.
I didn't get it because of why are we breeding such a onslaught of great defensemen in our AHL roster to just go out and expend a top 9 forward for somebody who you're taking a really, really huge chance on. Yeah. Like Jacob says it all the time. Defensemen take a long time to develop. So was it worth the risk? Are we going to be able to reap the reward of that time well taken? I mean, we sent him down to the AHL almost immediately.
Yeah.
Like what?
And
what
he
are we
played
doing?
well, but I heard he wasn't too happy about it. But he played well.
Yeah, I think the Blues kind of fell into the short-term outlook was, well, we can get rid of Zach Bolduc, and sure, we're going to lose 20 goals that he scored, but we're also going to get a full season of Jimmy Snuggerud, and we're expecting him to get 20 goals. So short-term was we have him covered. If we lose him, it's okay. We're already refilling him. Mm-hmm. Then you look long-term, and you say, okay, well, Zach Bolduc maybe gets up to 20, maybe gets up to 30, maybe gets, I don't know how many goals they projected him out to score per season. But then they might say, well, we have Snuggerud who can hopefully do that. We have Dvorsky who can hopefully do that. We have these other guys that we're expecting to. And then you look at the right side of our blue line and you see Justin Falk, who might not be on the team in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
You have Colton Parayko, who is a good defenseman, is playing well for Team Canada, but needs help. He can't play 30 minutes a night. And he's also above 30. And then after that, you had nobody. You have Adam Jiricek, who is at least 2 years away from the NHL. And then you don't really have anyone with high-end talent that you're excited about. There's some good right shot defensemen in the AHL, but if you call them up, like Matt Kessel, you're not expecting them to play top 4 minutes. You'd be expecting them to fill that third line. Yeah.
Right. Yep.
So I think that's what they did is they looked at their short term, they looked at their long term, said, we can fill holes here. We can't fill holes in the back end. And yeah, they went with positional scarcity over skill. Zachary Bolduc still might end up being the better player out of the trade, but I think they're just hoping that if Logan Mailloux turns into a solid number 4 defenseman, the Blues will be happy with that.
Fair.
So Zachary Bolduc does have in 57 games this year, he has 10 goals and 13 assists for 23 points.
Oh, low.
So he is fairly in 72 games for the Blues last year. He had 19 goals and 17 assists. But he did go on a tear at the end of the year when the Blues were on our win streak. It was there was a lot of people that helped with that, but Zach Bolduc was one. We don't go on that win streak without him. So yeah. All right. Matt, we typically end around an hour, but I kind of had an idea that this one might go long because we had a lot to talk about.
I can talk a lot.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes about nothing, but you know.
So, was there anything else that you wanted to cover before we get out of here?
No, that was good. I mean, hey, thank you again. Congratulations on 150. Thank you for having me. Any T-Birds fans listening, their T-Birds are starting. They got their first game of a 5-game home streak coming up on Wednesday night. So it'll be a tough one, but you know, I think coming off 2 road wins in Iowa for the T-Birds, if they can rattle off 3 out of these next 5, I think you're feeling pretty good about the Thunderbirds. And if they squeak into that 6th spot in the playoffs, who knows, you know, but 1 game at a time.
That's not how many teams are in your division.
This is the thing about the AHL.
It's so nuts. Your division is massive and some are
There's
small.
8 teams. Correct. There's 8 teams in the Atlantic. Top 6 make the playoffs. So you have to be really bad not to make the playoffs. Right now we're really bad. Not in the playoffs. But
you have a chance.
We're a few points out right now of the Phantoms, actually. Lehigh Valley Phantoms, who are the Flyers affiliate. I think they have lost a few games in a row, so now they're sitting in 6th. The Bridgeport Islanders have moved up to 5th. Thunderbirds right now are in 7th, 2 or 3 points ahead of Hartford Wolfpack.
I'm going to go out on a limb here then and say after the Olympics, with the Blues being healthy, and also this would depend on trades, who gets moved in any sort of trades. I'm going to guess that Otto Stenberg actually stays with you guys at least until after the trade deadline. Because as long as he's on your AHL roster as of the trade deadline, then he can be sent down to play in the playoffs. If I think that's right. So I wouldn't be surprised if he at least stays with you guys, because I think we got 2 weeks post-Olympics before the trade deadline. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just keep him down there for that 2 weeks and see how the Blues are doing, how Springfield's doing. If there's a chance that Springfield could make a run, maybe you just leave him there and let him be a part of that run instead of come up to the NHL. And
we talk about this all the time. If you're looking to develop guys, do you want to develop them playing top 6 minutes in the AHL, meaningful playoff push hockey, or do you want them sitting up on the, 5th floor watching the game? You know how, and I don't know how often Stenberg was playing for you guys, but he wasn't an every night guy.
With the injuries, he played.
Was he? Yeah.
With a healthy roster, it'd be harder to get him in. But with the injuries, there were nights he was on the first line. But he was playing well enough that even the fans felt comfortable. Like, oh yeah, we love Otto Stenberg on the first line. But yeah, he got called up because of injuries. I think he came back kind of right towards the end of the break there.
Okay.
But there was a moment where we had like Walker, Suter, Holloway, Thomas, I think Joseph. Like we had 5 forwards out. So yeah, it was. And the old geezers playing defense don't get hurt at all. They're brick walls. So
it takes a special person.
Right. All right. Then we'll go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you guys get yourself some coffee at Scooters. Check out Hughes Custom Design on Facebook and Imprint Labs on Facebook or Instagram. Come hang out with us this coming Sunday, the 22nd at 7 a.m. That's just hard to say. At Timeout Sports Bar and Grill in Troy, Illinois. And then also hang out with us March 12th, Thirsty Thursday at 6 p.m. at Fridays South in Collinsville. Make sure if you guys are following us on Facebook, Instagram, all the things, and then make sure you're following Matt and the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast. If you like all things blues, then you probably like all things Thunderbirds. So make sure you guys are giving them a listen. Matt, what day does your podcast come out?
We try to release Wednesday morning, just in time for the Wednesday evening game. Steve and I will usually record Monday or Tuesday night, and then we try to get it up Wednesday morning.
All right. So we have your Wednesday covered then. You have St. Louis Blues and Thunderbirds for your Wednesday podcast. You don't need any other podcasts on Wednesday.
That's it.
All right, perfect.
That's it.
All right. Normally I have our guests say a big "Let's Go Blues," but you guys are.
No, well, usually I end it with "Let's Go T-Birds." So hey, let's do them both. Let's go Blues. Let's go T-Birds, and let's go Team USA.
Yes, sir. All
there
right.
we go.
Let me do.